Brianna Reynolds with FabTV, and I'm joined by Alba, who plays Natasha in Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris. Now, the first question that I've got for you is, what sort of research did you do into Dior to better understand the history of it for the film?
Well, I dove deep into everything I could find online and books, ordering books online as well from the Dior fashion history, specifically in the 1950s decade, which is such a fascinating one, in my opinion.
Yeah, awesome. And what sort of research did you do in particular for your character and that era?
Just again, immersing myself within all the details of the dresses and the fashion of that time, and also reading some existentialist philosophers, for example, Jean-Paul Sartre. That was also a big one for for the mindset to sink in.
Yeah. Would you say before the film you had, like a thorough knowledge of, such brands as Dior, or was this something that was completely new to you?
Before the film,
Yeah.
I knew, I think, the basics of it. I certainly adored that specific decade of the Dior fashion history. So as soon as I read the script, I was transfixed by the possibility of living in a little piece of that. So yes.
Yeah, awesome. Now, while the film is set in London and Paris, what was it like to actually film it in Budapest?
Well, it's movie magic. It is what it is. But we shot a little bit in Paris as well at the end, which was a great kind of finishing off, like a end of chapter for this film. Even though we shot in Budapest, the sets were magnificent. Everyone from each department was amazing at their job. So it wasn't difficult to be immersed in that universe.
Yeah. And there's a lot that we can learn from your character. What do you think the biggest message is that comes from Natasha?
Well, I think it's Natasha's a good example of remembering to follow other passions outside of the one that you're mainly focusing on. I think it's important to create roots somewhere else and to cultivate them, because it only is good for your self-development. So I'm a believer in that as well.
Yeah. The one thing I loved about Natasha was that you sort of learnt not to judge a book by its cover, because I mean, a lot of people assumed that she was a model, that she wasn't capable of doing anything else. Is that something that you agree with when, we were introduced to her philosophical side?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I think it's it's a romantic thing, and also a little sad that she's, when we find her in the film, you can tell that she feels objectified by the industry, and but she's settled into something that she knows she's good at, but isn't particularly passionate about it. So this is a great, Mrs. Harris comes in and gives so much, light and positivity that influences her to choose a different path.
Yeah. And what drew you to the script in the first place when you were reading it?
It was the two reasons, one of them being that it's, a female-led story of this strong woman that's ahead of her time, and that also depicts a part of the Dior house history, which is so fascinating.
Yeah. And lastly, I'd love to know, did you learn any interesting facts about Dior whilst you were filming?
I remember being impressed that, well, surprised that at that time they already had the Miss Dior perfume. I thought that was sort of a recent thing, and wasn't. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, congratulations on the film. I absolutely loved it, and I think audiences are going to love it too. Thank you so much for chatting.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too. Thank you. See ya.